The video footage of the birthday party of Sean Diddy Combs, one that he organised for Meek Mill back in 2014. This video has resurfaced with the property manager of the location, the Parisian Palace in Las Vegas, claiming that there were broken bottles of alcohol, used condoms, blood on the bedding, powder, razor blades by the hundreds, lubricant on the dresses and marble floors, panties, bras, and even 2 iPhones in the bushes behind the bowling alley. Goodness me, sounds like quite the party.
But by now we've heard that Diddy has wild parties. But he's in jail. He's awaiting trial in May next year on some pretty serious charges, sex trafficking, etc.
Could be in jail for the rest of his life if convicted.
Exactly. So while this is a salacious story, I'm concerned that the more of this sort of story that bobs up, it's playing into the hands of the defence. They're going to, at some point, be able to argue that he's not going to get a fair trial. But where will they get a jury of people who haven't heard all of these claims? And I'm also just vaguely sceptical about this property manager who says that he found cocaine all over the house, but he thought it was icing sugar.
Well, of course, when you see a wild party attended by rock stars, you assume icing sugar.
Of course. And then he went around and collected it all and said he got about half a gram altogether. So his credibility's not high.
Well, how do you feel about your name being besmirched? Because now we say Diddy, I know. It's like my son and Hunter. When Hunter Biden's antics became world famous, ritapanahi had a moment to deal with that because it was the coolest name for many years, and now it's associated with Hunter Biden.
Yep, I'll go D-double-E instead of he is Diddy, yep.
Now, there's a lot of celebrities who are nervous, not just about Sean Diddy Combs' parties and after Stamos was being released, but a bunch of hate comments on Instagram for wearing a bald cap in solidarity with Kulia, who is battling cancer. Diddy, it seems like some people are desperate to be offended on behalf of others. If the guy who's suffering from cancer isn't offended, then why should anybody else be? Sure, he could have shaved his head in solidarity, but it's such a good head of hair and he didn't want to shave it.
Well, and most likely it's actually, he's an actor, professional actor. It's probably in his contract that he cannot drastically change his looks, which is pretty standard for a lot of actors. I find this story really genuinely upsetting. I mean, here's a man who is literally in a fight for his life, Dave Coulier, and he's having to deal with this upset caused by these sad, pathetic, cruel people who are having a go because his mate turned up and didn't shave his head in order to for whatever reason. I don't know what they wanted him to do that for. He made Dave Coulier laugh. Dave Coulier has lost his mother, his sister and his niece to cancer. This is the last thing he needs, and yet these people are making his life worse to make their whatever point they're trying to make.
Exactly. Of all the things to be outraged about, pick something else. Now, this is a man who's regularly outraged, but for good reason, I think. Actor Hugh Grant has given it a rare insight into some of the regrets.
I had them much too old in life. I started when I was 52, and now,
Your first kid, you were 52, wow.
Yeah, now I'm 64, and the youngest is 6, and I need a long stint in a sanatorium or an abbey.
Diddy, he's got 5 children, so he started late, but he kept having them. And he does seem like a bit of a disagreeable fellow, but I can't help but agree with him about this rant.
I am one enormous pet peeve. That's all I do. I walk around the streets peeving. I don't like people walking slowly. I don't like people with backpacks. I don't like people with backpacks on their front. I don't like people with backpacks and water bottles. I don't like water bottles. What's the whole water bottle thing? Why do my children have to go to school with a water? They have to cart water across London. What's wrong with a drinking fountain? I mean, don't get me started on. I don't like leaf blowers, roadworks with no people working on them. I'm pretty much Larry David.
I'm with him. There's a lot of he said there that resonates with me. I don't know about you.
Well, not so much what he said, but the fact that he's got 5 children. Who knew? And it actually made me love Hugh Grant more because he's clearly protected those children from the public eye, which I give him a big tick for.
And he resents them having to carry water all across town. He's exactly right. What's wrong with a drinking fountain? Why do we need to all be... And the water bottles are getting bigger and bigger.
Yes. I'm a chronic water carrier, though.
Oh,
so
you're
I'm
one of those.
I'm
That's
on your
why
side.
it doesn't resonate with you, Didi Dunleavy. I can't keep talking to you now that I know that.
I'm
Just before the
righto.
election.
I'd like to see a matchup of those, call it the top 100 puppet masters on the Epstein client list. They've not tried to prosecute even one. Not even the worst offender on the Epstein client list. They have not even tried to prosecute even one. That's insane.
Well, because they have a lot of diabetic grandmothers who were outside the Capitol on January 6th. They're kind of occupied.
Yeah, I mean, they've put like, whatever, 500 or 600 January 6 protesters in prison and not one person on the Epstein client list.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
You know, I think part of why Kamala is getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
That's fascinating there from Elon Musk, saying that there's maybe a few billionaires who were donating to Kamala, hoping that the status quo would remain, that Epstein list would remain secret. To me, it's incredible that nobody has been charged. This is, how can you have a sex trafficker and there's nobody who's actually partaken in what he has done, who's been involved, complicit in those horrible